children are going to require a lot of attention because they're going to require you to pay a lot of attention because they're just not as readily visual as like a child that's from somewhere else or speaks a different way. These children, you're really going to have to look to be able to recognize them. And as teachers, you have to remember that everybody in your class deserves to be taken care of. And so you do need to be watching for these kids. And we have a little video here, and it really makes you see how much attention these kids really need.
You always said you'd go to Australia someday. Well, your someday is here. Tourism Australia, Delta and Virgin Australia Airlines are giving you the chance to win one of 52 amazing Aussie week-long trips at the best times to visit with great events and unique Australian experiences included. For your chance to win, visit...
It's hard to hear, but... Notice how these people stand. Notice the other kids are like excited about it.
Like we said, everyone should be taken care of, and in this situation, like, you can see how mean, like, the other boys are being to him. Like, he wasn't doing anything. First it started off, we read a little bit, like, it started off over a pair of shoes that was taken from the locker room. And you see the guy that they were punching didn't even do anything because he didn't want to start the fight to begin with, and everybody was like cheering him on, like, oh, he punched him and stuff like that. And that's why we say, like, everyone should be taken care of, no matter what the situation is.
Well, and you notice he hit him the first time, the guy falls on the ground, you know, or goes and he's all lost his balance. And no, he still doesn't do anything. They stand there and wait for him to hit him again, and the guy's trying to protect himself as good as he can, but I mean, he needs some help, and he doesn't get it. If you can see right here, and this is in Gwinnett County, this happened recently, he broke what connects his nose to the rest of his skull up here, and he had to have reconstructive surgery.
They showed a closer picture on where we read on the news, and his like nose, like how ours is straight, his nose is like sitting, like slanted like this. It is so bad that they hit him so hard, they broke his nose up here. He had to have reconstructive surgery. I mean, that's terrible.
So in order to recognize these children, since they kind of hide in the classroom and they're very unlikely to come to you, you need to know what the risk qualities are for so you can recognize these kids. And one of them is aggravating. Y'all went to school. You know, there's these kids that they're just irritating. I mean, they get on your nerves. There was a guy I went to school with, and everybody was mean to him, but oh my goodness, he was irritating. And I actually saw something like that happen to him in one of our classrooms. The teacher was standing outside the door waiting for the kids to come in, and this guy that was like twice as big as him, I don't know what happened, but everybody turned around and he was just punching him, and I mean, there was blood on the wall. It was horrible, but I mean, the teachers knew, but the teachers kind of were like, treated him like he was irritating too, and which kind of egged it on. I mean, everybody felt like it was okay to be mean to this boy. So, anything that sets them apart, how they dress, speak, what their interests are. Morgan?
I know for me, like, I visit my grandma. She lives in Florida, and there's different types of, like, country, I guess you'll say, and I have a really southern accent, I guess, compared to them. And when I go to her church, they always ask, where do you live? Are you from Georgia? And I'm just like, yes. And they're like, oh, we could tell. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, they'll like just keep egging it on and on, making me say stuff because like I'll get irritated because I don't like people saying I talk really country because I know I talk country. I don't need you to tell me that. And they'll just keep doing it. And there's also, I knew this boy in school, he didn't dress like everybody else. He wasn't mentally capable sometimes, and he wasn't well groomed or anything like that. But there's like, people would pick on him, but in the way that they made him feel like he was accepted, that they were their friend. And he really wanted a girlfriend, and they would always send him to like, oh, you go talk to this girl, she'll want to talk to you, get your number and everything. And it would be like somewhat like a popular girl, and she'll shoot him down and everything. And then the boy, he would feel so bad, and it irritates me because he was in one of my classes, and I was the only one in there from my grade, and he was an older grade, and they would seriously pick on him, and when the teacher walked out, they would do that. And when he come back in, that boy would be doing it, what they asked him to do, and the teacher would get on to him, and he'd be like, no, they told me to do that, and they'd be like, no, he didn't, and like try and get him into trouble. And it was always just because he was perceived as a different person, not as one of us or anything like that.
It doesn't matter like what the student looks like, what he or she likes to do, how she talks, how he talks. It doesn't matter. It's the teacher's job to be like take action and shelter these children from like getting bullied, because I mean bullies are mean and they will like hurt the person's feelings and everything, and the teacher needs to take action and notice these things in the classroom, not just like, oh well, he's getting bullied, I don't want to put myself in that situation.
And somebody's mental state, like Morgan was talking about, you have somebody that's naive, people will take advantage of them, think that the people will treat them like they're their friend, and then they're laughing at them. You have gifted people, sometimes they get picked on because they're seen as too into school stuff and everything. And then there's the mentally challenged kids, and I did know this. It was a guy in our class, and he was in, well, he wasn't in my class, but he was in the class with the mentally challenged people, and he used to walk around, and he would say his name over and over again, and he rocks and everything. And I actually saw the coach at the school corner him and keep asking him what his name was, because that's always what he did. And he had gotten so nervous, and he had his head down, and he was doing this, and other boys had come up there and were laughing, and the coach was actually the one doing it to the little boy. I didn't think about it back then, but thinking about it now, I just can't believe, and it was right outside the principal's office. I mean, I can't believe, during lunchtime with all the kids watching, it's really bad. And that's where you have to notice too, teachers actually make things worse rather than better sometimes. It's really bad.
Students are often portrayed as being like a weak person, not having, like they just pick on them because they can't do something. Like y'all know, all of y'all have probably been in sports and stuff like that, and I was in cheerleading, and we had this girl on the cheerleading squad, and she wasn't all there, but she was smart as all get out, and she knew how to do everything we could do, she could do, or even better. And the other cheerleaders would pick on her just because she didn't make all A's in her classes, or couldn't do something that we were doing. And it's just like they just kept picking on her, and it's just like she said, the coach didn't do anything about it, our coach didn't do anything about it, so the captains all got together one day and just invited her into our group and just made her feel comfortable, made her feel like she was welcome in our group. That's what teachers need to do, coaches need to do, anything, just to make the person feel comfortable.
Well, and like in the video, you have somebody that is perceived as weak, and little skinny boys in the locker room, and other boys, they're gonna look at them like they're something to be powered, you know, they can take power. Yeah, they can take power over and make themselves look stronger. Unpopular kids. I think this is a worse problem in girls than it is in boys, and girls are vicious.
For example, the movie Mean Girls. If anyone has ever seen that, I'm sure y'all have. So it's just,
It doesn't take much for a girl to turn on another girl. And I've seen boys get in fights at school, and then 2 days later, they're like best friends again, you know? And we're all like,
girls tend to drag it out more than guys do, I think, because girls are drama queens. But
I mean, you'll have a girl that gets mad in kindergarten, and when she's 40 years old, she's
they'll say that or something like that. Be a bigger person, get over it. Don't just drag it on out and fight about it. I mean, I guess do like a guy does, just they fight about it and get over it, but girls are a little different.
Well, then we're girls, they get mad, and they don't want to be the only one that's mad, you know. They're going to go and say, you know, she did so-and-so to me, you better watch out, you know, she's going to do it to you too. And I mean, before you know it, she's cut her off from everybody. She has no friends anymore, and that's a form of bullying, and that can be pretty bad, but like I said, girls are mean. But people that get bullied, they do have positive influences on other people, and in their school, or just for each other. If you see a child get bullied, and it can make you feel really bad for them, and then it builds your compassion for other people. Just like I said, the little boy that the coach, I mean, I feel so bad for him even now. I mean, it makes you more aware of other people's feelings and how you can help them rather than making things worse. And there are countless websites and organizations that are there to support kids who are bullied, and they need to be aware that there are people out there that want to help them. They're not by themselves.
And this is Motivate to Improve, and she said, really, Taylor Swift said this, really, if I hadn't come home from school miserable every day, maybe I wouldn't have been so motivated to write songs. I should probably thank them. And this goes back, she was interviewed, and when she was in high school, she was a cheerleader, but she was tall, and she was skinnier than them, and she liked country music, and supposedly nobody in her school liked country music, and she was always picked on by these 3 girls. Well, in her first concert, the very front row, those 3 girls were standing there, and afterwards they were wanting her autograph and everything, and she even said that she should probably thank them, because without them tormenting her in high school, she wouldn't have had the encouragement to write the songs she has to encourage other people, to be a motivation to other kids today.
Well, and you have to, I don't know if y'all have ever watched any videos of her, but, you know, she always says, I'll get back at you, I'll write a song about you. So, you know, there's some of her material, I guess, because, you know, she had that song about the Mean Girls. So, you know, if you are able to take that and use it for something positive for you or for anybody else, then that's definitely positive.
Learn empowerment. Personal acceptance, develop healthy sense of identity, and improve self-esteem and self-efficiency. Social acceptance, interacting with family, friends, classmates, co-workers, or other groups improves how individuals perceive their place in the world.
Empowerment for yourself. I think sometimes it's hard to do that, but when you're left to your own, you have to figure that out if you're going to survive. But I think people that have it too easy, sometimes they don't get this till later in life, or they may not get it at all. And it's really important to self-development.
Demi Lovato, a lot of people may know, she went to rehab because she was bullied when she was younger and everything about her weight and about how she looked. She didn't look like any of the other actresses. And she started cutting herself and starving herself and everything like that. And she is now a role model. She goes around and like she'll do interviews and I know a long time ago it was on Disney Channel. They had that Stomp Out bullying, and she was one of the spokespersons for that commercial. And this is her quote, and it says, "I had a really tough time when I was in middle school. People would write hate petitions about me and send them around to be signed. They have CD bashing parties of my demos. They'll come to my house, stand across the street, and yell things. It was a very emotional time for me, and all I wanted to do was get away." And from her to have this go on in her life when she was younger, she could have shut everybody out and just kept doing what she was doing. But instead, she wanted to help those around her. As teachers, we should do that. We should want to see the children and see them as a light to everybody else, because they can help each other. And even if they're being bullied, they can help each other, and they can realize that they have an importance, because she realized that she had importance, and now she's like really well known.
Well, and if somebody was sitting across your street and yelled things at you and were sending around hate petitions about you, it would be very easy to like climb in a little hole and just not be seen anymore. I mean, I cannot imagine that. That's just horrible. But she got through it, and that's where the empowerment comes in. You just have to believe in yourself and keep moving, because she very easily could have just shut down completely. She had her problems, but she found a way to believe in herself and kept moving forward.
And she trusted in herself and not depended on like what others thought of her. She just identified herself as just herself and not let any of those comments hinder her from doing what she loved to do.
Being courageous. You have to learn to take action even if you know it will be difficult. If somebody is being bullied every day, it takes a lot of courage, even like we were talking about, even probably just to get up and go to school. I mean, you know what you're going to be facing that day, but you know you've got to keep moving, and you keep doing it. We like to say in Front Door, just keep swimming. You just got to keep moving ahead. And this could actually help children when they get older. A lot of studies have shown that a little bit of bullying can be good for children, because it helps them learn to deal with problems in their lives. And because, I mean, you're never going to be in a situation where everybody is loving and it's just ideal all the time. That's just never going to happen. Even when you go to work, there's going to be people that are against you. I've worked with girls. I mean, they're just as bad as high school girls. They try to
Bring you down.
get you fired. They'll start rumors about you. I mean, they say girls are vicious.
You can't just stop at the like tough obstacles in your life. You have to keep going, just like that quote says. Just keep swimming. Just keep going on.
And so we got some questions for you. Are teachers obligated to help bully victims? Yes. Nobody knows this. I know Ms. Harris really drilled this into us last semester. In loco parentis is Latin for in the place of a parent, and refers to the legal responsibility of a person or organization to take on some of the functions and responsibilities of a parent. So when a child is turned over to you as one of your students in your class, you do have some obligation, even legally, to care for that child. And if that child came to you from home and you saw signs of neglect, signs of them being mistreated at home, I mean, you would go to the counselor and you would take action to help the child. But, I mean, how could you possibly, when the child is on your clock and it's being abused, how could you ignore that? I mean, that's even worse. The child is being abused on your time and you're ignoring it. I mean, teachers do, they look it over, but you have an obligation as a teacher to look out for your kids when they're with you.
Why is it important for teachers to be aware of bullying? If we passed out the sheet before, y'all take out this sheet, and here are some facts that all teachers need to know once we all get our job teaching. Approximately 160,000 teens skip school every day because of bullying. 90% of 4th through 8th graders report being victims of bullying. 1 out of 10 students drop out of school because of repeated bullying. 75% of school shooting incidents have been linked to harassment and bullying. And this is the one that just blew our mind. Suicide is the 3rd leading cause of death among young people, resulting in more than 12 deaths per day. Students have shown that at least half of these deaths were connected to bullying. That's 12 deaths per day. Not per year, this per day in the U.S. for just bullying. They kill themselves just because they've been bullied or an incident where they have been bullied.
And we printed this sheet out for you because we really thought this was important for, as you become a teacher, to remember that, looking at kids that are bullied can be a difference in life and death. It's that serious. Of course, not everything runs that bad, but it is something that you really need to be looking for. This is more of a myth than a question, but people think that a child will come to you and tell you if they're being bullied, but that's really not true. It says only 1 in 10 victims of bullying will report it to an adult. It's not usually handled very well. Most schools don't even have really good rules about bullying. I think they're getting better maybe. Schools I've been in lately, they have a lot of signs up. I don't know how much they enforce them, but they have signs up about, not bullying 100%, no tolerance. But you don't want to be one of those teachers that children don't feel comfortable coming to you, or they feel like you make it worse, or that you're just not going to do anything to help them. That just makes it worse.
These are the warning signs of a child that is being bullied. It's loss of interest in grades or school, sudden loss of friends or avoidance of social interactions, frequent sickness or faking sickness, decrease in self-esteem, self-destructive behaviors, and mentions of suicide. If there's a student, I know, because we just saw, and she's discussed about the suicide, there's 12 deaths per day. Well, if there's someone that's not even they could be joking about it or not, and that's not something you joke about, but there is students out there that will joke about it. You need to pull them to the side and actually make sure they're not joking about it, and make sure that, is it for real or are they playing it off as a joke? And it could be, they could be very low in their self-esteem. They could be told at home, if it's a chubby child, they could be told, oh, you're fat, you need to start losing weight. And I had a friend, her stepmom actually made her eat ice the whole entire summer because she was considered fat, and she really wasn't. And now she has problems with that. When people tell her, oh, you look small, she's like, no, I don't. Because she had her stepmom telling her every day for a whole summer, you are fat and you need to eat ice. And as a teacher, we need to make sure that we point those kids out. We need to help them and actually tell them, you aren't fat, you embrace yourself. I know, for me, I'm not the smallest person, but I'm okay with that. And I tell people all the time when I say I want to lose weight and everything, I'm like, I'm just embracing who I am. And that's everything. And I tell that at church to all the little kids. I tell them, just embrace who you are. You don't worry about what other people think of you. And as a teacher, that's what we need to do too. We need to tell those students, you be who you are. As long as you're not disruptive in the class, you be who you are. And you show the light to other students. Make sure they know, I could be that. I could be this amazing person. I could be this singer like Taylor Swift, or like any famous singer that you want to be, or an actress, or anything like that.
Well, and my nephew is 7. He's in the 1st grade, and a couple of weeks ago, there was a little boy punching him on the playground, and he went and told his teacher, but he don't like to cry in front of people. He's really, even at 7, he thinks he's a little man. And the little boy was punching him, and he goes to his teacher, and he kind of smiles because he's trying not to cry. And he tells her that the little boy is punching him, and she says, well, just stay away from him. And I can tell you, because I'm around him all the time, if she had looked at his face, she would have known that she needed to do something, but she, a lot of times teachers are over there talking to each other and they really don't pay attention. Because his eyes will kind of be watered and his face will be really red. And she should have also known, because he never tells anybody. I mean, she's told my mama that he's so quiet and everything. If he came to her, she should have known that something was going on. But they go on, he goes back out there and tries to stay away from the boy, but he's following him around. So another little boy comes up and tells her that the little boy is punching him and trying to make him eat grass. And she still doesn't do anything. And my mama, he lives with my mama, and you do not want to deal with my mama. She not have it. So, but he came home, and he don't talk about it today. He's too busy playing. And but when he came home, he told my brother that somebody had been punching him. And then when my mama got home, he told her. And then when she got home later that night before they went to bed, he has a little knobby, and he's looked at it before, and he remembered a video on there about bullying. And he had actually went and got that video and was trying to see what he should do about being bullied. And at that point, my mom was like, he's scared at this. She knows he's scared. And she talks to the teacher, and the teacher said, well, he was laughing. I didn't think anything about it. And she said, well, he's trying not to cry. And so she finally goes down there and says something to the little boy. But the little boy's teacher, wasn't at school that day. When she came back the next day, her response is, oh my goodness, that child has parents that are hard to deal with. So if my mama hadn't pushed it and she had went down there and the teacher had known, they probably wouldn't have took as much action as they had, because that woman didn't want trouble from that parent, but I still say they don't want to deal with my mama either.
And he's what, 7, you said? He's 7. So you see how early bullying occurs. He's 7. I mean, I just can't get over that, how early it does. And a lot of y'all in here are mothers. And if your child was in that situation, you would want to do something about it. You wouldn't just be like that teacher and sit back and just, oh, the child's getting bullied. What do I do? I mean, like every teacher needs to take action, notice the child, notice the signs of what the child is doing.
Well, and you have he reported it to an adult. His friend actually took action for him and told an adult. And you can see the result until my mama did something about it.
There and had to do something.
The result was